I want to say Happy New Year. It is the first official week of the new year, and I hope you're as excited as I am. I took a minute to unplug. I hadn't done that in a long time, and it was an amazing opportunity to spend with my friends and family. But I am ready to rock and ready to absolutely take 2022 by storm. And I want to start off this year with you to ask you a very, very important question. Last time you set out to do something and it didn't work out, why did you fail? Why didn't it work out? And for a lot of us, that's a very powerful question, and it's a question I don't think we ask ourselves enough. But it's the question that I've learned to ask myself every time I don't achieve the goal that I set out to achieve. I ask myself why, because I don't want to repeat the same thing over and over again, right? So, you see, most of us, I think, when we ask ourselves why didn't we achieve the goal, whether it be personal, business, finance, health, whatever it may be, a lot of times we start answering the question like, I didn't have enough time, or I didn't have enough tools, or I didn't have enough money, or whatever it may be. And I noticed that when I started doing this for myself and asking myself this question, this important question of why, I noticed a pattern. And that pattern kind of shocked me, scared me a little bit, because I noticed it was reoccurring, and it went back to two things. Number one is it went back to resources, meaning like most of my reasons were outside of my control. And I didn't like that feeling. I didn't like the feeling like all the reasons why I didn't hit my goal was outside of my control. And so I started just really challenging myself and asking myself a little bit of a different question. I asked myself, well, if other people were able to achieve the goal that didn't have those resources, then how come I can't achieve the goal? And so I went on this discovery of figuring out how people that had very little resources when they first started actually uh, achieved their goals, achieve what they wanted to achieve. I mean, there's so many stories out there, right? In real estate, I interview people all the time. I interviewed a gentleman in real estate who literally he was a pizza delivery guy. He had no resources. He had nothing. And he built his business up to a $40 million yearly business where he's doing hundreds and hundreds of transactions a year, right? And he had nothing. And so we have to ask ourselves this question is it resources that is the reason why we're not hitting our goal, or is it something else? Right? And so I began to ask myself this question, like I mentioned, and this changed everything for me, because along the way, as I was digging kind of through this question, I stumbled across a quote by Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins said this. He said, it's not about having the resources in and of themselves. It's about how resourceful you are with what you have and the emotional energy you're bringing to every day that's driving you forward. And that's the key that stuck out to me back 2013 when I first read this quote. The key was emotional energy. Because if we really think about it, if you look at what drives people, what drives action, it's energy, right? It's emotion. It's emotional energy. And so I kind of just started looking at this for myself. And I said, okay, well, if there's other things that I need to do, but how do I build a business and how do I do something great without having all the resources? And if you've heard my story, I grew up as a poor farmer boy, barely got into college, right? But I had hustle and I worked, right? But I wasn't working smart either. And I wasn't getting to where I wanted to go, and I wanted to get wealthy. And so I kind of developed this process from learning from other people, and I'm going to share it with you really quick. And it's largely the reason why I've been able to have success. And I think you can too, whether you have a lot of resources or a few resources. Here's the thing. Just because I'm speaking to somebody right now, Just because you have a lot of resources does not mean you're going to achieve your goals, by the way. There's companies all the time, they put all this money out there, but they're actually not hitting their goals. So I put a plan to serve this goal, and here it is. Number one, develop clear, defined goals. We should have already done this in 2022, right? Number two, develop a routine that's going to that's going to give you high energy every day, meaning it's going to give you the energy that you need, the emotional energy you need to push through, to be in the right mindset to maximize your resources that you do have. Then number three is putting people, process, and tools in place that you can afford right now and focus on right now to take a step closer to your goals. And within that, making sure you're focusing on revenue generating activities. The fourth one is tracking your progress. The fifth one is making adjustments along the way. The sixth one is taking massive action towards the adjustments that you're going to make. And then the seventh one is when you start getting results, you take your profits, instead of going out and spending it all, you take as much as possible and you put it back into your business or whatever you're trying to achieve, to develop better people, to attract better people, develop better processes, and integrate better tools. And this simple formula, I humbly say, is what has helped me go from having nothing in 2011 to hitting independent wealth and becoming independently wealthy 3 years later, and having a really awesome company or companies. So I hope this is helpful to you in 2022. And just leave you with this. Remember, it's not about your resources, like Tony says, only. It's about your resourcefulness, and set yourself up to have the emotional energy you need to win in 2022. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow.